Are there any approvals or additions to the agenda?
I have a request. I would like to have our boards recorded and posted online for the public to access later.
What is it that you want posted?
The board recordings.
Oh, the board recordings. I don't think they're recorded.
Can we record them?
I don't know about the technology on that.
Would you record them, please?
Yeah.
Okay.
You
Yeah, I
can
would like
record
these on YouTube, like City Council does.
Okay. So let's put that on as an action item. So we'll add it as item E to discuss recorded messages, recorded meetings.
Thank you.
Right. Are there any other additions?
I'd
to
like
the
to
agenda?
add one under action items.
Yes.
Proposal to provide land use planning for the Heritage Trail Campground.
All righty. Anyone else?
Proposal to provide land use planning for the
No? All righty. So now we need to, looking for an approval of the consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I will move we approve the agenda as amended.
Okay.
I'll second.
All right. Thank you. All those in favor of approving the agenda as amended?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Everything moved forward there. All right, next, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'm sure assuming no board member wants to pull an item out, I will move approval of the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
I have a motion by Don and a second by Bart. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We're now on to public participation. Anybody looking to speak this evening?
We're here to answer questions about pickleball. We've submitted a handout to you guys if you have any questions you want.
All righty, thank you. All right, anything else that's not on the agenda? Somebody want to say? All righty, we'll move on to action items. The first is the appointment of a pickleball advisory committee. So I know that
So, Lisa, I think Kat is in charge of that. I mean, she's obtaining, or they're turning the forms into her.
Okay,
But I believe we've had 13 applicants.
we have 12 from what is here on our desk. We have 12 applicants. And like the Trails Committee, I'm not sure whether or not it is common practice to limit the number of people on the committee, but I'm usually in favor of letting people on who are interested.
Well, I think 13 would be a perfect number, 11 or 13. Hunter, would you agree?
Sure.
Do you think that I mean, it sounds like
There's a lot of
a
work,
great number.
a lot of work for
You
you
want
guys to do.
an odd number so that they
Yep.
can vote to move forward. So right now we have 12 people that have,
Okay.
You can have an even. It's good to have odds, but you can have an even.
do you all have a preference?
Yeah, we'd like the committee.
You'd like a committee, yes, but do you, I mean.
No, we don't have a preference.
You don't have a preference on number of people on the committee?
We're just glad that so many people turned out.
Yeah, no, I think that's really awesome. And so according to what I understand, the committee, the purpose of the committee is to provide recommendations to the board of directors regarding pickleball. It says here 5 to 7 members, and it's for a 3-year term. But you guys, I mean, yes.
Are we supposed to turn these on when we talk, or just leave
Yes.
them on, or whatever?
Yeah, just leave them on. And Jim, can you turn yours on too, please? Thank you.
Okay, so I guess 2 things, Madam Chair. One, I would be remiss I did not report that, the last couple of weeks, I've heard from 2 members of the trail committee expressing disappointment that the trail committee is so big because they feel like it's going to be inefficient. So I'm just going to say that. I said that at the time. I'm not in favor of large committees, but my feeling is that the rest of the board is. Having said that, I would suggest that we do have at least one, I recall, person here that was out of the district. And we said that we would deal with that at the meeting. And I think if somebody is nearby and interested, we have had people that don't reside in the district on district committees before. I don't have a problem with that, so I don't think we should disqualify anyone if they're interested just because they don't live in the district. If they're from Medford or something, that'd be one thing, but if they're St. Paul or Yamhill or whatnot, I think it's fine. But we do have to make that decision because the rules do say that they are to be in the district. But we have the ability to overturn that, so to speak.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, I'm hearing that you think it should stick to the 5 to 7 members. However, of those members, they can be outside of the district. Because right here.
If I had my druthers, it wouldn't be any bigger than 7, just because I think 7 is as big of a committee as you can get that's actually efficient. But I understand that my viewpoint on that is in the minority of this board, and so I'm not going to make a big stink about it. So it's fine. We can appoint everybody. I'm just saying that I don't think we should discriminate against the folks that aren't better.
Hunter,
Anybody else have
may I ask you a question? On your board, your pickleball board, how many do you have?
We have, well, basically 6 active members.
6 active members? Okay.
Is there separate pickleball groups in town? Is there just one organization? Is there 2 clubs?
One.
One club?
And there's other clubs outside the area which we've now become affiliated with, to the tune of about 900 people. These are active people.
What about sorry, I'm just trying to find out from the board whether or not there's going to be a limitation, because, we probably won't be, if there is going to be a limitation, the chances are we won't be making that decision this evening, because we'll need to go ahead and go through all of these and then get in touch with you, or, or I'm not sure exactly what the process is for deciding who gets to be on the committee and who doesn't. I feel like everybody would likely be a valid and good choice for this committee.
Yeah, to give you a little highlight of what we foresee the committee has to do, here's a 9-page document we put together already about the tasks, the contacts, the goals, and so forth. The committee has to achieve in a timely manner to be effective. And it will take quite a few people to do this. So whether it's 5, 7, or 12, it's going to be a busy working committee. It's not somebody, we're not going to have meetings just to have meetings. That's what it's
Does any of the rest of the board have an opinion on
Could you recognize Director Clements? He had some
Oh, I'm
comment.
sorry, Don.
I was just going to say I think for efficiency, I would agree with Don's statement, but at the same time, I think if you go ahead and appoint the 12, eventually committees have a tendency not to increase or shrink. And there's nothing wrong with appointing 12 and letting them deal with it. Is probably, we know that there's 12 people interested. Why would we limit their interest? Let them deal with that. And if they feel it's getting too large, let them deal with it, and they will. So I would recommend to the board that you just appoint the 12 members and let them have their meeting and go with it.
And I do think that's a very large group. Wouldn't you agree, Hunter? Like, that is a very large, there are what, almost 100 maybe? That are almost 100, do you think, that are like active in the community? Yeah. I know on our football board, we have a fundraising chair, we have a social media chair, we have a secretary, we have somebody that's in charge of equipment. We have, so I can kind of see where that would work if the committee were larger.
An organization, so forth like that is actually separate from the board.
Yeah.
They're assigned that task as well as maintenance and so forth.
Yeah. Okay.
Do any of the board members have any thoughts on this, or?
So again, the main objective of this committee is to, in your point of
Fully
view,
define what the requirements are, put together and support grant requests, find affiliations in the community that will benefit from the organization of, and having that center here, who are the maximum financial beneficiaries, not only CPRD, but the local tourist business and so forth, how we can help rejuvenate that. Why create basically a marketing statement for the facility such that it draws in people. And the primary reason it's gonna draw in people is we're gonna have the only covered facilities in the Northwest to run daily operations and tournament operations, and that's huge. I mean, we've got like 1,000 people to support in the area who are committed players, so that gives you an overall scope. But I mean, we're coming here to work to get this done.
so it sounds like you have plenty of positions that need to get filled,
Yes.
from what you just stated. To segue on that, I did go visit Ben, their facility over there. Really nice facility. And I did also notice that 8 of the 16 courts were donated, which was great to see. So I'm sure you guys will work hard towards that end.
Yeah, we also think there's a lot of state grants that really right down the line for this. We're gonna explore all that.
I know Hunter very well. I think that he can put everybody to work, and I think they'll have plenty of jobs, to tell you the truth. And so I don't have a problem with 13. 12. 12. With one board member? Is that right?
Oh, right, and then there would be a board member that would be the 13th. Is there a board member that is interested in being on this committee?
I'll do it.
Okay,
Thank you, Julie.
Yeah.
thank you. All right, now, do you know who has applied? Do you know who the 12 are?
Oh, I know I'm one.
Yep.
There's another one. I think the president's on there. Couple other members that I'm aware of. I'm more of an autonomous.
Here's the list. Tell us if there's anybody on there you hate.
Julie's up. Poor Joe. No, I see no problems here.
Okay. Well, I think as the,
The only one I don't know is Gary Linhart, but.
Was that a motion, Jim, or just that you're
That was
suggesting?
a discussion.
That- I move that we appoint all 12 members to the pickleball advisory committee and appoint Julie as the ex officio board member or staff member.
I have a motion by Bart and a second by Gail. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? You
No,
opposed?
no, I'm not opposed.
You're opposed, yeah, okay, so,
No, I'm not.
He's not opposed.
all right.
I'm not opposed. I don't think it's a great
So,
idea, but I'm not opposed.
all approved. All righty, the motion passes. We will get you this list so that you
Okay.
know. I will, the thing is we'll have to coordinate between Julie and Kat and trying to get you, it'll probably, most of this information will go through Julie to get to you all.
Okay, I have a question. We'd like to, as part of this committee, is report in writing, not necessarily verbal, we'll have someone here to answer the questions to you on a regular basis, so that we know that we are making progress and meeting milestones that we put forward, and also get your concurrence and we're moving in the right direction. Is that something that would be acceptable with you?
Yeah, even a written report that we could put into the board packet each month, which would give us an update with, depending on whether or not you guys have time to come and report out. That would be, I think that would be fantastic.
Yeah, we'd like to make efficient use of your time, not spend half an hour going through presentations. If we can just give you a report.
That would be terrific.
Yes, we'll have board meetings the fourth Thursday of every month, and they probably want to be able to prepare the
The
packet
board
a
report
week
needs to
ahead.
be submitted to the superintendent by the Thursday before the
That's
board
fine.
meeting, so a week before.
Friday at the latest.
Mm,
That's when we.
Don't say that,
begin to
though.
put together.
That's not a problem,
So Hunter, if you email it to me, I'll send it to Dawn.
not a problem, I'll do
Okay,
that.
perfect.
And we'll try to keep it brief, so it's not like
Yeah,
14,000.
a novel.
We'll try to make it
for
an
each
executive summary.
All right, perfect. Thank you all for like wanting to do this as well. I think that's why Newburgh's good. All righty, next on the agenda is a request for the proposal of the Union Trail Bridge. Is that you, Casey?
That's me. Yeah, I put out an RFP late in August and asked for proposals from companies interested in building a bridge down in Ewing Park so we could access the 11 acres of property down there. Received 3 back, one from NV5, one from 3J Consulting, and one from RA Gray Construction. Each had unique features to it. But for the project itself, I believe that NV5 would do the best job for us. They would, they're not going to build the bridge, but they're going to help us get all the permits and help us secure all the engineering and things that need to be done for the bridge. And then we can go out and pick the bridge builder ourselves and save us some money. One of the companies was going to do it themselves, but they were going to sub out the bridge part. So we're going to pay for them plus the bridge material. So I just think it's in the best interest of the district to go ahead and accept this proposal from NV5 for, I believe it's for $149,000.
I have a question. Are they gonna manage the contractor once on project?
Yes,
Okay.
Okay, so they'll act as a project manager.
Yes.
Basically for it.
they are. They were bought out by NV5. They used to be WH Pacific, who has been involved with the district many years. The Aquatic Center, the Riley property. So we are familiar with their work and comfortable with what they're planning to do.
They were the other bidder for the Hess Creek Trail crossing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And when I read through their proposal for Hess Creek, they had quite a bit of experience in the bridge work. So.
Anybody else have any questions for Casey? Not, I'd entertain a motion.
Okay, I'll make a motion to afford the Union Trail Bridge. I guess it's management of the project to MV5. Is that how you want to state it?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Okay.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. Jim has moved and Don has seconded the motion to approve a project manager NV5 for the Union Trail Bridge. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All approved. Thank you.
And Lisa, I assume that the audience knows, but that is property that the district plans to expand the Frisbee golf.
Disc golf.
course, Disc golf, yeah,
And trails.
and trails.
Yeah, so it's, I don't know if any of you have been down to Union, but where the creek is, it's on the opposite side of the creek. So it's just land that's landlocked that we haven't had use of, and so the bridge will allow for more use of that property.
Now,
Ready. Next on the agenda is the discussion of the Sandra Estate project. Is that you as well, Casey?
it seems to be, yeah. So Jim Jacks, who is the contracted planner for Dundee, came out with staff recommendations for the City of Dundee Council as far as adopting the master plan, the Sandra Estate master plan. And then he sent that out the 13th, I believe, was a Monday. And the meeting was on the 21st. And we had some time to look at it, and we made our comments available to the City of Dundee Council. And Tuesday night, we were at the council meeting and presented the Sander Estate master plan to them. And they pulled out some things that weren't mentioned in the staff report or the planners meeting, even the pre-proposal meeting. So they did approve the master plan, but with a lot more conditions than I would have liked to have seen. And I'm pretty sure the architects are of the same opinion. Some of the things that they said were, and this was not brought up in the pre-planning or anything else. Some of the things that they said was that at the same time we do the park, they want Billick Park, that little piece off of Fifth Street, done at the same time. They mentioned that they would like to see the zoning change to park and open space, which would allow farmers market without special use permits. And I think I can go back in their notes on their pre-planning and all that stuff and find all this stuff, but what else? They wanted to make sure that the lighting, it's mostly scheduling, programming, that kind of things. Those are conditions of use. There are, I believe, 16 of them in here. Anyway, their comments, it sounds like they want the splash pad to be the main feature, and they want restrooms closer to the splash pad.
So I'm sorry, but this is kind of weird, right? We've been doing this for almost
3 years. Yep.
And the city has been here every single time, and at the last minute, they're making all of these changes?
Yeah, well, they're just conditions.
Do we tell them we just won't do Sanders Park? I mean, at some point, it seems like.
They talked about safety and crosswalks, and that was never mentioned in the pre-planning. They talked about making sure the driveway into the park and the parking area wasn't directly across from the house. Yeah, they mentioned a lot of things, as well as the fact that the event building is not an accessory building according to the R1 dedication, and that's up to their interpretation of that. So we would have to go back to them if we were going to do something there and provide some more input, public input and that kind of thing. I mentioned the fact that the planner had submitted his staff information and mentioned that the building was 38,000 square feet. In reality, it's 3,800 square feet. And I saw a lot of board members kind of taken aback by that, not realizing it was not 5 times as big as the house that's there or half as big as our aquatic center. They're assuming it's a huge building. It's not. It's mostly outdoor space. So I'm just bringing that up to you because they did approve the master plan, but there are conditions that go with it. And I'll wait for them to make their notes and send us the minutes of the meeting.
So we don't have to do anything right
No.
now?
And I'll be in, like I said, this happened Tuesday. I haven't really had a chance to talk to Jennifer and Sarah about it, and Jan or John. So I didn't get any feedback from that at this point.
What do they want you to do across that street there? They want to turn that into another parking lot? They want you to grade it and?
Well, they want to include it in part of the Sander estate. And my thing to them was, we're trying to develop this park. This isn't about the road, the safety in the road that you guys have known about for 20 years. you're making us do all this work when in reality, it's them.
Well, I just
Sounds
wanna
like
st-
City of
I'm just
Dundee.
stepping back. I was just asking, what do they want you to do across the street?
Well, they don't think our 45 parking spaces, and this has to do with that 38,000 square feet that they put the building at. They didn't
I
think
would
that,
assume it would, yes.
they were assuming that 45 parking spaces wouldn't be enough.
Well, not if it's a 38,000 square foot building, you're probably right.
You're right, but
But,
when I told them it was 3,800, and
yeah,
that was a different tune. So some of this may go away when we do our, what is it? The next step before you start building it.
well, you have a budget for
Mhm.
this project.
No, we don't.
There's no budget for this project.
No, but we're gonna be required to do all the improvements. Some of the things we don't have to do is, and they left it optional, is to put a temporary path across from Fifth to Greystone. They want to change some landscaping, which is minor stuff. They want an easement across the, where is it, the west and east side for access, which we knew about. And it's not that we have to do anything there. We just need to give the city an easement through there. We have to dedicate 10-foot easement on the roadway for curb, gutters, sidewalks, landscaping, trees, underground all utilities. And Dawn and I need to have a discussion with Rob about right of way and that kind of things, and whether to use urban growth or urban renewal funds for that. And what else? And talk, some of it got really particular in the fact that they may want us to put a chain link up between the property and the neighbors on would be the south side. There's 7 homes up there. Every home has a different fence. And I said, well, why wouldn't you leave that up to the neighbors to decide that?
Right.
That's not our call. And some of the trees, because when you do a landscape plan, you're not looking at everyone else's trees, so you just kind of put it where the city requires it by code, and that we would look at tree placements of neighbors, so we didn't affect their trees, and just a lot of conditions. And I think that's pretty normal, but the fact that they're trying to kind of feature the splash pad as the bringing things in, I don't think it's that at all. I think it's going to be a beautiful park without the splash pad. I think the splash pad's going to be kind of secondary, will draw a lot of people, but I think there's other amenities there that'll bring just as many people, if not more. So.
I think what occurred, I know what, they have a new planner, as he stated. The old planner we met with, we had the conditions. The new planner evidently is not up to date when he says a 38,000 square foot building. Jim knows that right there changes everything.
Not asphalt if that happens.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. I wasn't there, but they're way off base. And again, I think the consultants will work with the city and we'll get this solved. That's the hope anyway. I think a lot of these will go away, especially when you're talking going down to 3,800. Also, the urban renewal, the reason we included that in the urban renewal was to capture some of those processes. And unfortunately, the city manager is leaving, and we'll have to deal with him before he leaves and then the new one, because we won't be building all of those until after he is gone. So there'll be a little work, but knowing the people on the city council, we'll be able to make it work. We'll just all have to work together. the real key is what is in the best interest of the citizens of Dundee that's going to use that park and the people that are going to visit. And as long as we keep that in mind, we'll be okay.
Madam Chair, I just want to say two things. I think, we don't need to belabor this tonight.
Yeah.
These conditions are negotiable at any rate. And there's certainly some misinformation from the city. And so we can talk about it as much as we want, but I don't think we need to talk about it at length tonight. The second thing I just wanted to say, to be clear to the pickleball folks, that this is a public meeting and you're welcome to stay as long as you want, but we're not offended if you don't, just so you know.
We're out of
I'm
here.
having fun. That's a good time.
Does anybody else have any questions for Casey, or do you all want to move on to the next agenda?
Well, last question, was this coming from the planner or was this coming from the board?
Coming from the board, planners, details and notes from the staff were not anything. There was a lot of those things not in there.
All right, thanks.
So his conditions that he put in his thing, normal conditions. The other ones that the city council put in were, I guess, interpretive conditions.
Thank you, Casey. All right, reports and comments from board members? Anybody have any comment or report? No?
Yeah, I do. Was anybody else?
I think you do.
All right. So I know we've been working with the county for some time on the figuring out a way to either acquire or lease the old Newburgh landfill property as for trails and for the paddle launch, but it's been a project we've been working on for a number of years now, and I just like to see if there's any board support for asking the staff to see what they can to move that project forward. I mean, I know it really slowed down because of COVID, and I know that Don and Casey are actively working with the county, but I'd sure like to see it be made a priority. And just wanted to report that we had our first Sahalem Heritage Trails Subcommittee and our Sahalem Heritage Trail Advisory meeting, and I think it's a really good group of people. There's one of the people, his name was Marty, I don't remember his last name, Marty Peters. He actually has an idea for a trail that could run, that he uses it to walk currently every day, and he has permission to cross from most of the property owners, from all the property owners, but he believes that we could actually pretty easily put together a trail. And he said that there was originally a grant from the city, but to facilitate construction of that trail, but it never really happened. But he was talking about from Allison to Wolves and People, and then up to Redfield Winery, August Cellars, and Potter Vineyards. And he said he walks there almost every day from his home to his work. And it sounds like it's the kind of thing that with support from Park and Rec, that we may be able to, some of the property owners are concerned about liability, but I think with an official governing body sponsoring that trail instead of just, a group, an independent group of property owners, we might actually be able to make it happen. So I think he would be happy to come, talk to us for 5 minutes at the next meeting. I didn't want to invite him in without talking to the rest of the board first, but I don't want to shortcut the process of the committee, but it sounds like something that is almost turnkey and ready to go. Maybe I'm making too many assumptions, but I'd sure like to have Marty come in and talk to us for 5 minutes at the next meeting. I'd like to invite him in if that's all right with everybody. Okay. And the other thing I wanted to talk about was whether the board should put on the agenda some discussion of support for the Yamhill West Sider Trail. We worked with the friends of the West Sider Trail to put out the survey, and we have the results of that survey, which show overwhelmingly positive support from the community. And I think it's time to at least start having the discussion of, how, if that's a project that we're interested in working with the county on, and that I'm sure takes some discussion of, the first thing that we have to do, I guess, is decide if that's something we want to work with the county on, and then as part of that discussion, we have to figure out, how we would finance the maintenance and construction of the trail.
Yes, John.
Two things, Bart. Number one, I've contacted John, and I don't know where it is, but I'll call him. He
John
was
Bridges?
working with the county attorney
Okay.
on a long-term lease, 99 years, for the both parks,
That's
which
Crabtree
included
and-
which included the landfill as well.
Okay,
And I asked him to add that. He was working on it. I'll double check and see where it's at and just call you.
thank you.
And if he sees a problem or there's something, I'll have him at the next board meeting to explain it. I don't think there's a problem, but we'll know. The other issue is the right-of-ways. We have a lot of current trails that go across private land. They are protected from all liability if they dedicate that, and the attorneys put it, and John's familiar with it. We've
Sure.
done it in several places where the landowners cannot be sued, providing there's no charge and it's used for recreational purposes. The state legislature passed that law. So that's pretty easy to solve.
Yeah,
And so I wanted to bring up those two issues.
Anybody have questions for Bart?
Yeah, do we have a request to provide assistance with that trail from a user group? Or,
so we've had informal discussions with the friends of Yamhill.
yeah, because that might have been before I was on the board. so-
Yeah, and just, well, there's never been any board action, but, we've expressed interest in seeing how we can work with them. So, but that would require, the board to make a formal action.
I think we discussed this, am I correct, Bart, at one of our meetings with them early on about the maintenance of that trail and stuff. And what they were willing to do, again, I'm not speaking for them, I'm giving you my interpretation of what was said at that meeting, and I'm not holding anyone to it, so I want to make clear what I'm saying. But my understanding, they were willing to pay for the maintenance, and that what we would do is do like we do with the cultural center. We'd enter into an agreement with them, and they would become a private group, which they already are, a 501c3. And as you know, they paid some $17,000 for that study, and they have a lot more money in the bank, and they raise money. And I think it would be easy to work. I think the difficulty with that's going to be the county. But that's just,
So
again, Bart.
let's
if you-
take a consensus, or do I need to make a motion to get that as a actual, something that would come before the board at one of the meetings coming up?
Yeah, we definitely need to consider it as a full board. They need to make the decision.
I have questions and concerns about the legal issues that have surrounded this trail. I guess I'm not understanding where we're coming in to jump on board at this point.
With the board, the question I think they want is, the county has said they're not willing to go forward with the trail. The question is, are we? Could the federal money and the state money that's been assigned to that be transferred? And rather than the county having to pay it back, which currently they're going to have to do, which will hurt all taxpayers in Yamhill County.
Right, that's a $1.1 million ODOT grant, and there's also an Oregon State grant. And
Right.
It's conceivable if somebody was gonna manage the trail that, I mean, I don't know that that's questions being answered, but the reason that they demanded repayment was because it was not, those grants were to make it into a trail, and those are, under current conditions, not gonna be made into a trail. So in addition to providing a valuable asset for our citizens, the rest of the county, it could save the county over $1 million, and it would have to come out of general fund dollars.
And we discussed with the committee about expanding the district as well. That would have to be discussed. In other words, the Yamhill school district would be just like our Newburgh school district would be our boundary. And therefore, we'd collect taxes out of that. And then we would be responsible for that area's recreational deal, and they're willing to talk about that. We told them we didn't want to seem like we were trying to push anything. It's their community. They make the decisions. I think if viewed, we're trying to get bigger or more powerful, it'll be viewed badly. And that's not the case. We just want to provide recreational opportunities wherever we can. And at the same time, we have a fiduciary responsibility to our current lenders, and we can't burden them with that responsibility either. And I would not be in favor of that either. That's why the 501c3 could work out and the agreement could be signed so that we do that. And that way our local residents wouldn't be burdened. That's also an option. So we
Well,
can determine that.
Yeah, I hopefully there could be funding from the county parks department too. I mean, it's part of their master plan to add additional trails, including the Whitson landfill and the old Newburgh landfill, as well as other trails. They've identified that they have a deficit of the amount of trails per population, and so.
Waste Management asked me to chair a county committee probably 5 years ago, maybe. I can't remember when it was, but their landfill is going to close. And not only do they have the landfill, but they have all the area around the landfill, acres and acres.
Some of that's
They-
Willamette River frontage,
Right.
right?
And they put in a huge amount of money for the plan. I mean, we're talking about millions, and was willing to put more money in. The idea, my research said with landfills, that the day you open a landfill, you should have a plan for what you're going to do when it closes and how you're going to mitigate all the damage done and turn it in. New York, San Francisco, all of them, that's exactly what they do. And most of their parks are built on landfills. A huge amount of parks, and it works out well. There's a 50-year period that you have to wait, but that's just something in Yamhill County that we need to address and work on. And I just agreed as a private citizen to work on that. And Waste Management provided the expertise out of San Francisco, and I know that they spent millions of dollars on that. So
is the next step then, before, because I think it's sitting in the county's hands right now, whether or not we can do any of this in the first place, is that correct?
Yes.
So we have, so if we were gonna do anything here, would it be to like continue that conversation or to approach the county to see whether or not there are opportunities? I'm just wondering what is there something that you would like for us to be doing as a board right now?
I think the first step, correct me if I'm wrong, Bart, but if you're opposed, now is the time to say it. If you're opposed to moving forward. If you're not opposed and you're willing to look at it, then we can move forward. I think that's what the Amhelis group wants to know, where you guys are. Do we just abandon or not do anything, or do we work on it and try to save it? I think that's, am I correct in that?
Yeah, so we've expressed interest to the county before, but our conversations have always been, we're interested, but the board has not formally taken a position one way
Right.
or another.
That's
So
correct.
What I'm suggesting is if the board was to take a position that, yes, we would be interested in entering into conversations to see if there's a way that we could make this work, it carries a little bit more weight than just saying, well, there are some members on the board who would like to have that discussion.
So are you proposing making a motion then?
Well, that's what I was asking Dawn, if that takes a formal motion or consensus, but I'm prepared to make a motion that the board support conversations about our interest to work with the county on developing the Yamhill West Sider Trail.
Okay, Madam Chair, I'm just gonna say I'm absolutely not gonna support that motion now. It was not on the agenda for tonight. We need to have a formal discussion about it, not an informal.
To just look into that, just to have a conversation?
I think that this is a huge issue, and, I think it needs to be a regular agenda item. There could be people from the public that want to weigh in on it. We should not make this decision without it being a formal agenda item. That's my opinion. I'm only one of 5 people.
Yeah, I think I may have misspoke with my motion. I'd like to suggest that we place the item on the agenda for not necessarily the next meeting, but an upcoming meeting to have that discussion of
I'm
whether.
opposed to that. I'm not ready to vote on the issue tonight.
No, I'm sorry if I misspoke and made it sound like that's what I was looking for.
Yeah, Don, I'm fairly familiar with the trail, but I think the board needs a lot more information and facts before we can make any kind of decision. So I think that that would behoove us to have that information as much as possible. especially for new board members or whatever.
Would you suggest that maybe I meet with the county and get their input?
Tell you their input, but go ahead.
Well, and Don, if you do meet with the county, what I would hope is that you could also ask Christian Bonish and Todd Zadlow, perhaps if they have some discussions with, especially Oregon Department of Transportation, if there's a potential that request for repayment of the grant money could be waived.
What I thought, Bart, is maybe when we meet with the county, there'd be you, myself,
I
and
say
a
take
representative
part
from
with
Yamhill County, or the Yamhillis Trail Committee. Let them appoint a member so that we can sit down and go from there. The only reason for asking the consensus of the board was if you're opposed, then let's not waste the time. If you're not opposed and you don't have enough information, then I'll get you the information. That's okay. But
I think it's two things. It's one, a sufficient amount of information, because I don't think Gail and Jim have been provided the same kind of information that the rest of us have been given. And then two, to make sure that, like, to have this discussion, that we put it on as an agenda.
all right,
So if you want to go ahead and find information in the meantime, I think that would be fine, but in the otherwise, we should make sure that it either gets on, I guess it would be the next agenda, because otherwise we're gonna knock it out.
we'll do it in October because November, we don't really have a board meeting because of Thanksgiving. And then Christmas, normally we have it December, the first Thursday of December, but that's a very short meeting. But we'll put it on the agenda.
Is it possible to have someone from the Amhillis organization come and speak to us about it?
Sure.
Okay, thanks.
I
Yeah,
don't
and then
see-
the material in the packet would be helpful.
Yes, so what about a farmer representative? What about a farmer representative? One of the farmers? Would they be
Yes.
coming to speak with us as well?
Prior to it, we invited all the opposition to the Yamhillis Trail to a meeting. The board remembers that. And we heard from all of them because we felt in the process of doing that we should just not have one side here. And but we can get those minutes out and share those with you. And then there was representatives there, and I can have Kat contact them and tell them that we're going to discuss it at the October meeting and invite them.
I think that's a great idea, Don. Part of the issues that the Friends of Yamhillis West Sider Trail ran into was not involving, all the parties. And so I think, in full transparency, public meeting, anybody who wants to speak, we should reach out and invite. I'd like to get all sides of the opinion before we make a decision. So I think that makes sense. Thank you.
We'll do it.
Did the board receive the report that we got through the Friends of Yamhillis?
I did. I don't know if the board did.
When you say report, you mean the survey?
The survey results.
I don't believe so.
Yeah,
Yes,
it was in the board packet.
we put it in the board packet.
Okay.
No, it was in the passport packet. I
Well,
have.
one of the things that got me in there was the fact that 50% or more than 50% of the population of Yamhill didn't know anything about the Yamhillis Trail. I think that's the biggest thing that I took from that whole report.
I thought the report was, I thought the discussion on the report was a lot more valuable than the actual report. Is that not recorded? Is that something I can go back and rewatch? Just the first half hour of last meeting?
From Nelson's presentation.
Yeah.
But we
Nelson's.
don't,
Did-
is today the first
did
time
you
we're
record it?
recording these?
I think Kat might have recorded it.
Okay,
I don't know,
would
I'll
like
have to
I would
check.
like to
Kat's on
rewatch it.
vacation, so
Exactly. I had asked her in previous whether or not we were recording meetings, and she had indicated to me that no, she has not been recording them. It's on Zoom, it's pretty easy to record meetings, so it was my understanding that she has not been recording them, but I could do some.
Okay.
That's what she has.
Okay.
All right, if no other board members have comments right now, at our last board meeting, I had asked for us to talk about the, how some of the things that are happening in the city right now are affecting potential, operations for CPRD, or, could in the future, and asked to have that as a topic of conversation. And I obviously noticed in the board packet that there is at least one person that does not agree in any way, shape, or form that we should be having any of these conversations. But I feel that if it is going to affect the operations of this entity, that I think it is absolutely something that the board should probably discuss. And I have expressed myself in the past that I think that we have a duty and a responsibility to make sure that everybody in this district feels welcome and is able to use the facilities that we have. And I don't know what we would do about it. I do think having a message, maybe on our website, that says that we are a welcoming district, and that all people are welcome to utilize all of the services and the parks that we have. Because if people are coming, and it wasn't just one person, there have been a number of people who have been given a lot of emails, that people are not going to be coming to Newburgh because of what's been going on with the school district. So I would like to have a conversation with y'all right now about whether or not we should be doing something in some fashion that will indicate that we as a district support all the people in the district, and that we welcome all of them to utilize the facilities that we have.
Yeah, I totally support that, Lisa. I was kind of surprised that that didn't come on the agenda also. That's, I think, as the city has and the Newburgh Downtown Coalition has, and I think a number of other entities within the local district have, I believe that we need to make us in support of, that our facilities and we're open to everybody, and everybody has the right to use them, and statements similar to what the city has made.
I understand that this is reactionary to the school board. Have there been instances where someone has not felt welcome in our parks? There has not been a park incident.
There has been communications that people will no longer come and utilize, they won't participate in the softball tournaments. There are other people who have come in and said that they will not come and utilize the cultural center. They will not come and visit any of the businesses. And so I do think that it has an impact on the work that we're doing. And in fact, one of the gentlemen said that they would work to try to make sure that no one would come to Newburgh for softball tournaments anymore. So I do
That's
think
the
that
only
it
email
has.
I saw. Did the other ones get?
They're not email, they weren't emails to us. They were emails to the city that will impact what will happen with CPRD, because when people are from outside, they're gonna go to the city, they don't come, they didn't even go to the school board, which is where the issue is. Yes.
So
can I make a comment?
Yeah.
We've never denied anybody from
I know.
using any facilities in Newburgh. As a matter of fact, I know the cultural center, we've had events there that when Black Lives Matter all started up, they had a big event there. There's been other events at some of our parks that we've allowed, and they're people. They have a right to their own beliefs and whatever, opinions and the way they think about things. we're not ever gonna deny them that. I don't think we have to put that out in the statement.
Well, we already have it in the statement for operational. It's already there. I wish Kat or Julie was here. The individual, I asked them to reach out to the individual in the letter, but before they did that, to get permission from the people that received it, first of all, that we were gonna reach out. I don't know where that is. I've been on vacation, but I'll find out. I'll continue to reach out. I believe that the individual that wrote it from the state of Washington, we can probably have direct contact and make him aware that it was not anything to do with the district or that it was a situation with the school board. And, but again, I don't know where that is, and I apologize. But Kat and Julie was asked to get together and do that. So I'll see where that was. They may have already done it, I don't know.
Yeah, so I don't see this as a reactionary thing. It's a conversation that a lot of people are having right now. And I don't think we need to do it to please any one individual or group of individuals that have talked to us. I think in these times that there are groups that are oppressed and there are people that think that equal rights are special rights. And I believe that the district should be proactive and have a statement that, not just in our manual, nobody sees that, but something that's, like signs at the aquatic center, for example, that might say that, this facility is open to everybody, and a statement on the website, and maybe a proclamation like the city's done. I think we need to do more, and not just, it's true, Casey, that we have been very supportive of, and nobody's ever been denied service or treated unfairly that I'm aware of within the park district. But I think more than just doing the right thing, I think, we need to communicate that we believe that as a district that, that all, that everybody should be treated equally.
Kayla, on the website, is it on the website that you're aware of,
What exactly?
the statement? About,
I have not been made aware of any statement, so I
okay,
do not know.
So we look, just look here, our mission statement is on there.
That's
We were talking to Rick today, and he mentioned, getting the groups of all these different factions that are all fighting, get them together in a room and just say, hey, we're all Americans, we're all people here. Why is it so difficult to make everyone just work together instead of, pointing fingers at everybody and doing things to upset everyone? I just thought that was kind of crazy. I grew up in Canada. We don't do this kind of thing up there. We're not, I want to call my son that he's a bit of a redneck, and has different views on what I would consider, proper behavior around people and inclusive, whatever you call it, inclusivity. But I know the younger kids are my kids are, other than the one, are pretty accepting of everyone. My son goes out with someone of a different race, and he knows, and I know people of different genders, and it doesn't bother me. They're just people. And I don't think anybody should look at groups as saying, you're different, so I'm not going to accept you. There's not a lot of acceptance in society. And I think a lot of it's to do with social media and people's feelings on how they feel about, I don't know, everyone's a human. We're all entitled to our own beliefs. We all should react the same to one person over another. And I don't know, I think it's kind of sad what the school district did, and had they just left it alone, there wouldn't have been this big uproar. That's my feeling on the whole thing.
Yes, and unfortunately, it is not only local news, it is state news.
National.
It is national news.
Yeah.
And it is constant. And I think as a district, unless we don't believe so, that making sure that people know that this is not us and that we are welcoming of everybody to our parks and to our facilities and to our programs. And I think it's important that people know that, because we're in the news every day.
May I ask a question?
It's not usually, but.
That's what I'm asking the commission.
No, go ahead.
What statement do you feel like they made with the school board?
Excuse me?
So what the school board did, they passed the resolution. How are you interpreting that as?
It's
something that
the
needs-
reaction of everything as a result of the actions of the school board that have put this community into the news in a way that says that we are not a welcoming community, that we don't want to go ahead and recognize that people have had difficulties, and that the whole thing is that right now, whatever the issue was with the school district, we are being looked at as a racist, homophobic community that people have said in emails and whatever that they don't want to come to. I don't think that's who Newburgh is. I don't believe Newburgh is a racist, homophobic community. I think there are people that have different opinions, but right now, we are looking like there's people who don't want to come here because of everything that has gone on. I don't think that's fair to the majority of the people who live in this community. And as a CPRD board member, responsible for making sure we're setting policy and direction for the entire district, I think it's important that messages come out that we feel that we want to send a message that says we are open for everybody and we are welcoming of everybody into the community.
So do you feel like what they did was racist?
So it's.
I don't know if we need to go there. I think that's
I don't think we
not.
need to have, I don't think we need to try to interpret this. So we do need to know the gentleman's name for the record since he's engaging in
Yes,
conversation.
could you state your name, please?
David Larson, sorry.
Thank you.
I've been in Newburgh for.
Just, when someone reliant speaks, it has to go in the record, that's true, that's all. Not sure, I don't see anything on the website related to this. There is a scrolling headline on top of the website about a public hearing on September 21st, that doesn't come down.
Yes. Does anybody else have any comments?
Yeah, I'd like to see if we could look into maybe the staff present us with something, considering us being inclusive as an organization, and be able to put that possibly in our manuals or information that we put out to the general public. I think that would be important for folks to see that, especially if someone questions us, like you're saying they are. I think that if that's out there, I think that would help. That's just a suggestion. I don't know how the rest of the board feel about it, but it's something that we might want to talk about as far as inclusiveness and all races and so on and so forth, so people understand that we're open to everyone. That's my take on it.
I don't have a good feeling for exactly what you're asking us to do.
I am just asking for a simple statement that, can be crafted that says that we, the CPRD board of directors, or the district as a whole, right, is welcoming to all. And that we encourage and invite people to come to River and to the CPRD district to be able to utilize all the facilities that we have, and that's everything.
And I think that's a common sense statement. I don't see personally, I don't see that as a problem. Maybe you could draft it differently, but maybe that's something that we could put in our brochures. Want some more information that we put out so people know that.
What I would suggest is we'll put it on the website, and we have headlines that we can do that on.
Brochures.
And we'll just say, all are welcome. The board of directors wants the community to know all are welcome. It's 3 words. I think it says what we want to say. And we will put it at the aquatic center. We'll put it at the ball fields. And we'll just put it out there. All are welcome.
Thank you.
And I think I'll just direct that to be done, unless you direct me otherwise.
I think
It'll be done.
the Newburgh Downtown Association may have already crafted a message similar to that, and they may have signs that go in the front of the stores that decide to post those, so we might look to them to, carry a similar message.
I saw that today. That was very well written.
Yeah, so let's steal that idea. I'm sure they'd be happy to share it.
They would.
Yes, ma'am. I guess I haven't seen it and I would like to research it. If that's okay. But I would like to because this is such a charged topic, I want to see it, I want to think about it. That would be my personal vote, is to table it until I have a chance to look at it.
Unless I'm directed otherwise tonight, I will put out a statement, all are welcome. I'll use those 3 words. And I'll put that in each facility and on the website until I get you guys decide what to do. I'll just do that. And we'll get that done by the first of next week. So we'll get that going.
Can we have, can Kayla send that, the Downtown Coalition, can you send that to the
Yeah.
board member?
Yes.
We'll send that to you and we'll put it on the agenda to be discussed in October. So make sure that gets in the minutes.
More conversation on this?
Thank you for bringing that forward, Lisa.
All right. Are there any more reports from any of the report?
No, I just had a comment from a gentleman on at NAPS today, of all places, and Julie, you can look into this, is that he was complaining about the lapse sometime in the evening. Can you talk to Tara about that and see if there's been any changes, or I don't know, I didn't call Tara and ask. That's
Yeah.
just somebody that came up on the street talking.
What he was concerned about, what about lapse one?
That the time for the lapse has been shortened.
Yeah, that's because some of those teams,
Can't work past.
well,
I'm just telling you, that was something that you might want to look at, because that was sacrosanct when I was there, was always make sure that they kept an hour of time.
yeah.
So you might want to look at it.
Yeah, I think there is. They did keep some time. I'll confirm with her, but I know
don't have
that,
any other facts. I'll let you look at it.
yeah.
It was, am I correct, Casey? It was cut more and we stepped in and said no.
Yeah, yeah. They were gonna cut some more hours out of the pool and we just said no.
We said.
We cut enough
We
already.
need to do the most that we can, and we put it back. I do agree with the idea of workers. If you can't get employees, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, I don't know all the facts. I was just bringing up what the
The
public
state
said.
says that they cannot work past a certain time, so we're handicapped there. So that, we're not able to deal with that. But
I think things are improving because George Fox is now in session and most of those students have their schedules set. And so that's been beneficial to have those students back because a lot of those students are lifeguards, Jim, as you know, and so that's been helpful. But it's been like everyone, it's been
Challenging.
difficult to get staff, right? We're working hard at that right now. Yeah,
Well, he said he's gonna come to the next board meeting, so I just want you prepared. So I just
he is.
bring it up.
Oh, good.
That's what he
Okay.
said, that doesn't mean he will.
Yeah, I mean, he could email Tara or myself too. I mean, well, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Thank you, Julie.
Yeah.
So next on the agenda is the recorded meetings.
It's just something I think is important. I would like to see our meetings recorded and posted on YouTube, just like city council does and county commissioners and everybody else.
Does anybody else have a problem with that?
Probably the 90s, that I'm guessing, fairly early in my tenure, that cable access recorded our meetings, and they were on. Our ratings were like worse than Super Train. We got
It's
canceled.
not that interesting.
I'm not trying to be a YouTube star.
So we have the technological ability to do that now?
So can we start recording these meetings as of now and into the future and have them available for the public to view on the website?
You can get an executive producer credit, Richard.
There you go.
Wow.
Just have to switch it over to VHS and send it on to. But no, yeah, it can be done.
I think the old meetings were on VHS. That was maybe the problem.
The law in the state says that the one thing that we must do in our minutes is state the motion, who made the motion, what the vote was. That's really all required by law. But I don't necessarily disagree with doing it. So,
Well, now that we have the technology, it seems,
Yes.
before it might have been difficult, but with the recent upgrades,
yeah,
We don't have to have a motion on this, do
I think there's consensus, so.
we? So you'll, okay.
we'll do it.
Thank you. All right, next on the agenda is the proposed land use planning for the Heritage Campground. That was you. Who asked for that to be put on?
Me.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
So this came in on a little bit late to get in, put in the board packet. So as you know, we're trying to develop a campground on EF80 land, and it's going to require some land use planning. There's been conversations between John Bridges and the county planner, Ken Friday. And John, at the request of John, he said it would be in our best interest to hire a planner to do what he does or what he's been doing, because it will cost a lot more for him to do it than it would for a planner. And at his recommendation, I put out an RFP for a planner, and I sent invitations out to 3 of them that I thought were good at what they did and would provide the district with what they needed. Ron Pomeroy, Patrick Davenport, and planning group, which is Matt Hasty. Both the 2 first ones took a while to decide, and then finally said that we can't do what might be required of this land use planning.
That's Angelo?
No, Ron Pomeroy, he's from McMinnville, and Patrick Davenport, who works for Pacific Community Design. They both said that they both recommended Matt Hasty as a probably the one that has the most resources available to him to get this done in a timely manner. So his proposal came back to me for all the use and everything would be no more than $39,000. And I had John review it, and he said that this group would be more than adequate to do our land use planning. And part of this is adopting the CPRD master plan through the county as an official document. This would help us with all our trails around that we want to do. It will help us, as long as it's included in the master plan, the county will have been aware of it, officially aware of it, and has to accept the fact that that any type of land use that we might want to do on a piece of property, they've already got notice of it. So it would help us in the future, and we won't have to do all the hoops and things that we have to jump through with the county. It would help us with our trails. It would help us with the bypass trail. It would help for any parks that we want to develop. It would help for pretty much everything. And Don's already told me that he is trying to update the master plan that was put out in 2010. So at this time, I think it's really important that we get all this done at one time so that it can be submitted to the county and we can move forward on our little projects that we're doing without any conditions on things that, you know, normally might come up with the property at EF 80 and things like that.
So is this gonna include like Bob and Crystal Riley, everything in the county? Master plan of everything in the county that we're.
It's going to include everything that we are aware of and plan on in the future. That makes them fully aware of everything that's going on. And
Because
Don
I already jumped through that with the county on Bob and Crystal Riley.
yeah, but you did it for one. I want to do the whole thing.
No, I don't disagree.
I think
No, I don't disagree. Sorry, it's the mask.
Yes, Bart.
Can I assume this could be funded out of the line item we have for
campground.
that campground, and that's like 300,000 for this
Yep.
year or something like that?
Yep.
So that'll leave us a lot more for.
This might be a 2-year project too.
Sure.
We don't know.
Okay.
It's it involves the county. It involves us. It
Well, yeah, it could be
includes the public.
5
It
years.
includes every group that we've been talking about tonight.
Yeah.
So
And EF 80, and it would go to like, we're gonna ask for like a parks.
parks and open space. or
Parks and open
something like that.
space. Okay.
What's EF80?
It's
Exclusive farm use
exclusive
for
farmland.
80 acres.
80 acres
minimum.
or
For one dwelling area? No, it's like you can only have one dwelling on 80 acres in an exclusive farm use designated. And you're talking about a campground on one of those? Yes, on one.
So I would like to ask the board permission to hire the Angelo Planning Group as
What's the name of the?
Angelo Planning Group.
I move that we authorize Casey to enter into contract with Angelo Planning Group for this project.
Any motion, do I have a second?
I'll second it. I just noted in, we just now saw it, like, this group and Mr. Hasty, experience in helping Tualatin Hills Park and Rec do their master plan. That's a bigger, more complicated district than we are.
Yeah. Any conversation about this? All right, all of those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Thank you.
Yeah, Lisa. Can I actually just get your name over there? Oh, I'm sorry, Peggy? Peggy Kilberg. Kilburg. Oh, thank you. Sure.
Maybe next on the agenda is updates on projects. I feel like you've done half of those already.
Oh, yeah, I'm running out of things to talk about.
That's okay. I'm just gonna go real quick. The
contractors at the aquatic center are still trying to source materials. I haven't
Wow.
heard any updates on that. I know from ordering some things that we've had to order from the park district, some things are 6 to 9 months out. So I can't give you a timeline on when they're gonna fix that, but I hope they do it soon before it gets wet and nasty, and I'll try and give you all an update shortly.
Hey, well, before you go on, as long as you're talking about the pool, how's the chlorine situation?
What's that?
Chlorine situation, there was shortages a while. couple
Oh,
of
yeah,
meetings
we got
ago.
through that.
All
We're,
right.
we're good.
All right,
We had about 20 gallons left in there when we got some delivered, so
All right.
we were talking about going to, Buy Mart and hardware store, doing all kinds of weird things, but no, we made it through that.
thanks.
We turned our chlorine down, we did all the things that we could do to keep it in reserve. Doing a lot of tree work around the district and maintaining properties. We just finished aerating the golf course, greens and tees, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and they're back open today. Having trouble finding staff. That is a hard one. Most of Mike's staff left last week. I think he's down to 4 staff members. Normally we'll have 6 to 8 up until the end of September, and then slowly drop down through November. There's nobody out there willing to work for $12.75 an hour when McDonald's is hiring people for way more than that.
Is that why?
You know what we're finding too? I'm sorry to interrupt, but we're finding a lot of people that are calling and we're setting up interviews and then they're just not showing up. So we've had that experience in care and with aquatics, and I think, Casey, have you had that experience?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
And we're just dealing with COVID things. Julie had a program shut down in the school district last week, volleyball. We're using the school facilities still, and they had an outbreak and that shut down the whole program for 10 days.
And interestingly, it was someone who was vaccinated. It was an adult and they were vaccinated. So it's it was kind of unexpected.
Don, we've signed the agreement with Greenworks for the Newburgh Dundee bypass trail too. So that's gonna get rolling here pretty quick. So we have a lot of pieces and projects going on.
And no stuff.
I'm done trying to get projects started now. I'm just gonna try and manage it all. I think that's it for me.
Thank you, Casey. John, superintendent's report? Financial reports and questions?
Nothing unless there are questions.
Is there any questions?
As you note, this board report was completed on September 9th, approximately 2 weeks after the last board meeting. So there's not a lot of new information on there. But for all intents and purposes, we're doing fairly well.
Madam Chair, I might suggest at some point we could change this template, because, it always says, financial report questions under the superintendent's desk, but we approve it under the consent agenda. So it's like,
I know.
that could just
I'll
come off.
change it.
That could come off of the template if we're gonna do it that way.
I'll change it.
Good suggestion.
And there is a thing under the superintendent's report though that talks about the potential parkland.
We discussed that at the last meeting. And
Just
we're
wanted to
Really,
just
there's nothing.
Staff reports?
Actually, may I go first? Tonight is flag football jersey pickup. So I'm texting and writing back and forth and hoping you guys are gonna help out with that afterwards.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. Let's see, we are so busy in special services. We have soccer going on, so that's grades kindergarten through, well, first grade through 8th. And then we have Little Big Kicks going on, and that's ages 3, 4, and 5. And we have tackle football. That's been pretty successful. We have middle school volleyball. We started out great. And then, like I said, we had a case of COVID, so we're down for 10 days. But we play in a league. It's called the Mid-Valley Coastal Conference. And everyone is having that issue. And they're also having transportation problems as well. So we've had a lot of canceled games already. Let's see, and so flag football, we start Saturday. We're really excited about that. We have 20 teams, which is great. A lot of our participation, a lot of our games are happening at the high school on Saturday morning. So that's kind of neat. We use that field all day long and with different kinds of participation. So that's fun. Youth softball is almost over out at Crater and at Jakewith. We've had a successful season there. Fall ball, they are using our fields for the next couple weeks. Casey and I are going to get together hopefully and maybe do some recon on some of those fields. The CARE program is going well. It's, they're dealing with the same thing that the schools are dealing with. And we are, trying to get those programs up and running successfully. We haven't had any quarantining issues, but the school district sure has. And so we're just trying to, partner with them and have great communication so that if we have somebody that needs to be quarantined, we are alert, we're in good communication with all of that. We have a morning program going on, and then we have an afternoon, obviously, going on. The Newburgh School District, they changed their times a little bit, and that has affected us for care and sports. So we've had to kind of pivot and do some things differently this year, which isn't really a bad thing, we're finding. So we're trying to be positive. Some of these COVID things have helped us a long way, and we've learned quite a bit too. Let's see, so everyone's masked up again at the Aquatic Center. We have concluded our summer swim lessons, and that was very successful. I think Tara said over 1,000 kids with modified swim lessons going through that program. So that's great. All of our sports teams are back in the building, and that's nice to see too. And then, of course, people have to mask up when they're inside. So we've had some people really interested in using the sauna, and right now that's closed down. But we have heard from some people that for medical reasons are very interested in opening that up. People are using the walking track quite a bit. And then of course, basketball is in full swing because George Fox kids are back and using the building quite regularly. See, with golf, they've had a lot of tournaments out there. Kellen has really been busy. We had SDAO out there this week, the firemen, the Newburgh School District. They're also looking for employees out there. So if you know of anybody, please alert us. And let's see, and Kellen was very busy with lessons this year. At the Aquatic Center, I wanted to mention too, we're trying some different things. So we have SUP yoga, of course, and that's been successful. We had a fencing camp this year. We have our babysitter class that's really going well. So we're trying to do some new things. I got a flag football guy here ready to pick up uniforms, but and so we're trying to do some different things, and we're also trying to do some things with some of our programming that are outside. So inside space has been a little limiting for us, and so we want to do things that are safe for the kids, safe for the coaches, safe for the adults in our program. So it's kind of made us think outside the box quite a bit. And like I said, that's not a bad thing. One thing that I did want to mention, and this is kind of this was a fun activity or a fun program, but Missy Love contacted us about 2 months ago, and she said, we received some state funding. And we would like to offer our Newburgh School District kids the opportunity to participate in CPRD classes for free. And so we were trying to figure out, oh my gosh, how do we do that? You know? And so our registration system is called ActiveNet. And so we went out and we created it, what we would call a coupon code. And so the Newburgh School District actually, you know, they sent out some email blasts. We sent out some email blasts to people who had registered through our programs in the past. And they sent us, Newburgh School District sent us a check for $12,000 to cover any classes. We were very excited about that. 6 hours is what it took to go through $12,000.
Wow.
Isn't that
That's awesome.
amazing?
Yeah.
So very successful. We were watching it, you know, throughout the day. We thought, oh gosh, we'll really keep an eye on this because we don't want to go over, you know, and anyway, it's kind of a really neat thing. And that was they had received COVID funds, you know, for that, and very successful, but we could not believe 6 hours, all that money was just gone. But that's neat. We were excited to partner with them. So I think that's it.
Thank you.
Yep, I gotta go. I got 4 guys waiting
Thank
for
you,
me over
Joey.
there.
Heidi, do you have anything?
Nope, business as usual.
How about you, Kayla?
Markets have concluded. The Newburgh Wednesday Market was extremely successful, partnering with the Downtown Coalition. Everyone was very happy with it. Sounds like vendors had a great time. The Dundee one, it was a trial run for this year. I was talking to Erin about it because she runs those markets, and it sounded like the vendors loved having it because it sounded like it was a great social time for them. They loved having Erin there. We were looking in the future for maybe a different setup for that. Instead of maybe every Friday, we're kind of experimenting with maybe a pop-up market once every month, like a first Friday or something like that. And I think since, you know, depending on what the Sanders State project is going to be, we might be moving locations too. So there's some ideas in the works. But what we are trying to do right now is get information from our vendors, because what we would like to do as a thank you for, you know, letting us try this out and coming along with us for this first ride, is put their business and information up on our website as sort of like a permanent place as a thank you for being here with us, but we're going to try to promote your products and your businesses a little longer. So we're trying to create sort of like an online market for them that it'll be free for them, and we can help promote their businesses a little bit further going down the road. And then we'll invite them back for next year once we kind of figure out how that's going to look. So that's where that is right now.
Andrew? It looks new to me here. All the technology.
Big one.
Do you want to report out on any of your technology stuff?
Yeah, we just added a whole bunch of technology to this room to make meetings a lot better. And main thing is the microphones to get your guys' voices better into Zoom. And then there's new speakers in the ceiling to get audio back into the room from Zoom. Public-facing screen, board-facing screen. So just overall better long-term solution for what's been going on.
Thank you. I think it's great. Alrighty. Any citizens' comments? Oh, there was the one in the packet, which we've already addressed. Is there anything else?
Will we adjourn?
Thank you. We're adjourned.
40.